Ipswich return to home dry turf, looking for a less controversial weekend than last week. The visitors looking to rain on Town's Parade, Portsmouth. Join us as we preview Saturday's game and much more here on Blue Monday, an Ipswich Town podcast. Welcome to the Prematch show ahead of Ipswich Town versus Portsmouth. We've got plenty of news to talk about. Seb, good to see you. We survived the drive home. Thank you to you driving through the floods of Lancashire and wherever we were. I got a comment that why did you go via Wales on the way home? And that was why, because Seb tipped me. So I'm pleased to meet up. But have you dried off after last week?
Just about. It was it was crazy, wasn't it? A really strange day. I think we commented on the way up saying, how is this worthy of a yellow weather warning, because the rain wasn't that bad at all. And then sure enough, got to Lancashire and the heavens opened, and a really strange day. I mean, you guys covered it in depth, didn't you, on the flagship show on Sunday night? First game I've ever been to where it's been called off after the game has kicked off. I believe you're counting Ewood Park, even though the game wasn't finished. So shenanigans there, I think. But there we go. So a very, very strange day. And there's been an announcement today that it's going to be replayed in full. So happy days. Yeah,
should we start there? There's views in the chat. Neil, what fun social media has been this afternoon, evening. A lot of tears, enough to flood Lancashire. Lovely stuff, Neil. Colin here, been sunny every day since I got home from Ewood Park. Sorry, Blackburn, but that's life. Get on with it. By the way, good luck with that appeal, because my goodness, you will need it. There have been, every man and his dog has seemingly had a take on this situation. So it's resolved now, which is good, because I thought the EFL might drag this out for another week. So good to have closure, albeit it sounds like Blackburn, to Colin's point, the dust is not settled on this for them by any means. It's just been a bit weird, isn't it, really? Like, I think probably the headline from me in all of this is the idea that the game was unplayable from the 79th minute onwards when the referee called it off. It's early doors in the podcast. Apologies if you got kids with this. Bollocks, frankly. The game was unplayable from about probably half time, maybe the 60th minute onwards. So the idea that anything that happened, maybe the Grieve sending off aside, because I think that was pretty poor, but everything else, I think it's just completely moot in terms of it being a competitive game of football. It just wasn't. And lots of people who weren't there on Saturday giving their take. That's my rant. I had a chance on Sunday. Give us your state on this, Seb, because it's a farce, isn't it?
It is. It's almost as farcical as what it was like being in that away end with no communication about what was happening, and we're all kind of standing around waiting to get further instructions. I'm amazed it's taken so long. Peek behind the curtain. I was preparing the script for tonight earlier. I flicked you a text and said, should we have a rant about the EFL? Because at that point, I didn't think a decision would be forthcoming today. There were kind of rumours that they'd make a decision maybe end of the week. So we're kind of thinking Friday afternoon, maybe announce it on Monday after all the weekend action, etc. So it kind of broke relatively late on this afternoon. I don't really understand why a lot of people who don't really have any, they haven't got a dog in the fight, haven't got any skin in the game, they're just not involved, decided to get so loud about it on social media and stuff. But I guess that's the world we live in. I think you have to replay the game. I think the rules are very clear. I was quite surprised it took this long to get to this stage. As you say, it wasn't just those 11 minutes that were lost. It was from half time. The rain was awful, wasn't it? A few times in the first half, as we were attacking the Blackburn end, you could see the spray. Kayused a few times would lose the ball. I think it was probably down to the surface conditions. It got worse and worse and worse. 11 minutes still to play. There would have been 10 minutes of stoppage time with all the substitutions. The referee's technology failing twice, didn't it? When his whatever strapped to his arm, his transmitter, his radio, whatever, and that took a bit of time to get sorted out. So there was enough of a game of football left to be played. And for the integrity of the league, you have to finish games and you have to finish them in playable conditions. And thankfully, the right decision has been made. Blackburn sound like they're going to appeal it. I can't see that having any weight whatsoever. I guess they'll do it just to try and to show willing to their fans and stuff. But a farcical few days after a farcical situation. But good news, we get to go up to Ewood Park again and lump your money on a Jacob Greaves winner from a corner. You just know it will happen, and that'll create a whole new storm on social media and stuff. So the pitch was a joke, and it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and lots of interesting stuff in the chat. I've put up as much as I can there. Streaky ref did his best to continue, but as soon as that one stopped dead, he had no other choice. Yeah, exactly right. Lots of interesting debates as to how we might approach it, because we have accepted that this season we are the bad guys and we're not going to get love from anyone. And as I say, the analysis from armchair pundits who are very much in the dry, I would imagine on Saturday, is part and parcel of that. A few people suggesting, Seb, that we might, if the game is replayed and Blackburn's appeal doesn't happen, we should let them have a goal head start and all that kind of stuff. Like, what's your take on that?
No, I mean, what if we do that and we draw the game and we don't get promoted at the end of the season? It's tough luck, isn't it? You know, stuff happens throughout the season. I think the fact that there were so many games in close proximity that did get played mean that Blackburn do have to bear some responsibility for this. If the drainage of their ground goes into fair enough, but you've got to have a backup for if that river is full or bursts its banks or whatever. So yes, I can understand why they're a little bit peeved. If we were in the same boat and we were closing in on a victory with a man up in a game, then yeah, I can kind of get it. But they have to take some responsibility for games in the vicinity being played to the full 90 minutes. And I'm sorry, that's on them. I can't see a world where I've seen some of the things before the decision was made saying, oh, play the last 11 minutes with 10 men, or it was, get to that point at 50 minutes and sub off a player and don't bring a player on, or give Blackburn a goal at the same time. Sorry, it's a replay. It's 0-0. It never happened. We do it all again. And if you're good enough, then you'll beat us. Like you might today, but we'll never know. That's the great thing about sport. Anybody can beat anybody on the day, and it's up to you to go and do it again. And you came close, you didn't quite get across the line, and we'll shake hands and do it wherever it's going to be. Maybe last week of October is kind of being mooted, isn't it, as a possible date? And yeah, that's all we can do.
Yeah, and there's so much. I was going to say, this is we're drawing a line under it on the podcast. This will not be the last of this. There'll be some other stupid nonsense that happens, but I think we've dealt with it as much as we want to and can be bothered to do on the pre-match show. Let's move forward. Before we talk about ITFC women play Portsmouth, so we'll very briefly preview that. Interesting news this week about Sam Morsy, Seb.
Yeah, so came completely out of the blue, didn't it? So I'm not sure it's been officially reported yet. TWTD reported, and if you follow them on social media, the family, you will see they've kind of hinted at the same thing. It suggests that he is either left or he's leaving Q8SC by mutual consent, only 2 months and 3 games into his time there. He was captaining the side. He got sent off in a 1-1 draw at the weekend, and we don't know the ins and outs of it, but it sounds like he'll be packing up from the Middle East and either moving to a different country or coming back to the UK. And he can't sign for another side until January because his mutual termination has happened after the transfer deadline. I've got no idea if there's other countries he can go and play in who don't have the same kind of rules around transfer deadlines, but a really strange situation. And I guess, yeah, you kind of look back at it, and the way it kind of ended at Town felt a little bit unsavoury at the time. We were all shocked that he was one of the players that was moving on, because at that stage we didn't really have an idea of the level of the clear out that was going to happen. And I guess looking back now, it might all be a little bit unnecessary, but I've seen a few things, get him back in January, etc. But I think we've moved on, haven't we? With Nunez, Kajust, he wouldn't play. He wouldn't start a game, I don't think, ahead of those players. And unfortunately for him, he's going to either have to accept that and move down a level, or look to go somewhere else and play for a couple more years. So yeah, sad for him. It hasn't worked out. Bit unnecessary, all that stuff that we had to go through in the summer. Then it was a shock he moved on, like I said. But yeah, hopefully he can get himself a decent gig in January time. Do you think he rocks up at Chesterfield with Paul Cook for one last hurrah potentially? What are they? They're League One, aren't they? So back down one level potentially. I can see that being an option, but it'll be a case of watch this space, I guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up at a club in the Midlands, but there's not too many around there, because I think that's home for him, isn't it, the Wolverhampton area? But does give limited options. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he's got somewhere in that neck of the woods. But if he's willing to be around the club, and accept that he's not going to play week in, week out, we could do a lot worse than have an additional body for cover, to quote a Seb Brownism there. So stranger things have happened. We'll wait and see, but we wish him well, whatever happens next. And if you're watching, Sam, and want to chat to us about it, come and let us know. We're always happy to hear from you. ITFC women, off the back of a really good league result last weekend against Charlton, who were the league leaders at the time, got a point there on the road, kept a really positive clean sheet, then beaten by WSL opposition maybe midweek in Leicester, who probably scored a couple, 2-3 more goals than they probably deserved on the balance of play. Deserved to win it, but the result somewhat flattered them. Good to get off the mark. Ruby CB scored for Town and actually put us in the league, but yeah, got pegged back and very much had the sense of the type of games that the men endured last season in the Premier League, but an opportunity against an opposition of a more comparable stature on Sunday against Portsmouth, a nice double header. The men and the women there Saturday and Sunday. So do get down to Colchester, 2 p.m. kickoff at Colchester. Big game. This is the kind of game that would set a really positive marker for the season ahead for the girls. So do get down there and give them your support. Another group of people that we should be giving our support to, though, during the weekend, Seb, are our friends at ITFC Fans Supporting Food Banks. Can I give the details for that?
Yeah, it's the September collection date. Usual collection point opposite Blue Planet at kind of Sir Alf and in the fan zone between midday. What's
Pizza
it called?
Planet,
isn't it? What's
Planet
it called?
Blue, mate.
That's the one, Planet Blue. Opposite by Sir Alf, basically, and the fan zone between midday and 2 p.m. If you visit at ITFC_FSF on X or Twitter if you're old, there's a list of recommended items. Obviously, we're coming to the winter months, so think accordingly. And if you can give, please do. They do great work. And I think the next one's pretty quick. I think it might be the Norwich game for the next collection.
Double header.
It's basically a double header for October, yeah. So if you can give, please do, because it's a great cause.
Yep. So I totally agree with that. Do you want to address this one, Seb? From Streaky, still no FPL forfeit shirt. Shame, he says.
I got blamed for forgetting, and then I passed it on to you because I'm no good at this kind of stuff. And then you forgot for a couple of weeks, but we have planned it. It's been designed. Have you sent it off to print yet? Has it got that far? Or okay, it's being printed. It will make its debut at Blue Monday Live after the West Brom game on October the 25th, and on a pre-match show in the not too distant future. So a little bit longer to wait, but don't worry, we haven't forgot. We just did forget for a little bit. And
another reason to come and join us on the 25th, a month's time. More about that later on. We're going to announce the live guest that we've got joining us for that one. Let's deal with Portsmouth on Saturday, Seb. I've done a little bit of research, not as much as you, clearly. Been watching the games, and it feels like they've maybe not accumulated as many points as maybe their performances deserve. We'll talk about the Sheffield Wednesday defeat, which I guess on the face of it, not good, particularly as everyone expects Sheffield Wednesday to struggle, but maybe some mitigating circumstances around some of the goals they conceded. But certainly Norwich, they were unlucky to lose that one. Southampton, probably the better team overall. I just wonder whether they're kind of a low-key team that actually has the potential to be maybe higher in the division than they are at the moment. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
A few people do have them as dark horses for this season, and I think that's kind of a combination of Fratton Park being a fortress. It very much was last season. We'll discuss how they got on last year, but Fratton Park was crucial to them staying in the division. You know, we've both been there. It's a tight ground. The fans are right on top of you. If you can make that a nasty, hostile place to go and play football, it's only going to work in your advantage. So I think Fratton Park plays a part. I think they've done some good, decent business, and I really like the manager. I think he's really, really good, and he's one of these, next ones on the block, these kind of young managers who kind of instantly hits the ground running and gets across new ideas and new strategies and has great success with it almost from the get-go. So I can see why people are talking them up, and this season will be one of kind of, bedding in some of the new players. It's been a kind of a season, summer of moving on the lot that won them the League One title and got them promoted. They did their job, a bit like us. You shake hands, you thank you, but you have to move the squad on. So there'll be kind of not necessarily a transitional season in terms of sitting in the middle of the park, but I think they can certainly have eyes upwards rather than downwards, and I think they'll be looking to build for the next couple of seasons if they can continue adding kind of the quality they have done recently at pretty decent transfer fees. I can see no kind of reason why they can't look to push for the playoffs in the next couple of seasons, because I guess the only mitigation for that will be if somebody does come and pinch the manager, because like I say, I really do rate him, and I would imagine that if he performs well this season, let's say they finish somewhere between 8th and 12th or something, I can imagine a few clubs further up the food chain might come and nick him.
Yeah, interesting. Worth noting, by the way, and I did say I was going to draw a line under it. Seb and I, do you remember our last trip to Fratton Park, Seb? Do you remember the conditions?
Rain. Yeah.
That game wasn't called off, was it?
No, they just got on with it and played it. I think the pitch drained okay and there was no whinging.
Okay, keep moving on. State of play. I mentioned that they haven't got as many points as maybe they would hope for. Do you want to give us the stats?
Yeah, so currently sat 13th with 8 points, played 6, won 2, drawn 2, lost 2, only scored 4 goals in those 6 games, conceded 5. They are the 4th highest underperformers on XG so far this season. The XG is 8, the goals scored is 4. Last 5 is 1 win against Preston, 2 draws, Southampton and West Brom, and 2 defeats against Sheffield Wednesday and Norwich. The away form is decent. They are unbeaten on the road this season, played 3, won 1, drawn 2. They've scored 2 goals on their travels, conceded 1. The victory came against Oxford, and they drew with Southampton in that game that was on the telly. That was a pretty crap game, and West Bromwich Albion. So yeah, they've played some pretty tough games away. You know, Southampton is their massive derby. West Brom are a side that have started the season really, really well, and they've got points in both of them. So they're doing okay away from home as well.
Yeah, do you want to very briefly talk about last season and just recap where they finished so folk are aware?
Yeah, job done. So they finished 16th on 54 points. The only point would have been to avoid relegation. They finished 5 points clear of the relegation spaces. They actually started the season really, really badly, but the fixture list was brutal. I think they played all the parachute sides in the first kind of half a dozen games or so. So they didn't actually win any of the first 9 games. But in that time, they did give John Mousinho a new contract. So a real kind of backing for him, despite the poor performances on the pitch. Or not so much the poor performances, the lack of picking up points.
Yeah.
They were leaky. They conceded the 3rd highest number of goals in the league after Plymouth and Cardiff, both of whom were relegated. And I've already mentioned that Fratton Park form. It was that kept them in the division. They took 40 points from 23 games at Fratton Park. Away form was the 2nd worst in the league. So it was Fratton Park that kind of got them across the line, and job done. Get yourself promoted, you know, and you have a year where you just simply have to get the right side of the line, and then you can look to build and crack on. And that's exactly what they can do now.
Yeah, well, in terms of that defense and its leakiness, the goals they conceded against Norwich, really lousy marking. But last time out in the league, the defeat to Sheffield Wednesday, I mentioned it at the top, some real mitigating circumstances around. I mean, maybe not the Barry Bannon, you have to call him Barry Bannon, by the way, trademark, his goal, but certainly the second goal had some element of fortune, didn't it?
Yeah, very much so. So it was a 2-0 defeat at home to Sheffield Wednesday. I've just eulogised about their home form, but this is a bad one. It was Sheffield Wednesday's first victory of the season. Barry Bannon, free kick. Can't decide if the keeper's at fault or if he gets his wall wrong, but he kind of leaves a big gap for Bannon to shoot at. And yeah, when you've got that quality from Bannon, no surprise it ended up in the back of the net. And then George Brown kind of goes through, and Connor Shaughnessy, one of the centre-backs, just I guess it's a hamstring. He pulls up, can't continue, but George Brown keeps going and scores. The stats were in their favour, 70% possession, 1.74 XG to Sheffield Wednesday's 1.07. They had 25 shots, but only 5 were on target. Wednesday, by comparison, had 13 shots and 8 were on target. Wednesday seemed strong in the first half, and then Pompey kind of grew back into it. But whichever way you look at it, you know, everybody kind of knows that Sheffield Wednesday this season's a bit of a basket case. Hopefully the whipping boys for every team they face each week. And to lose to them for their first win of the season is disappointing, considering how good they have been at Fratton Park. Yeah,
very quickly on that goal from Brown. Can't trust a Brown, always untrustworthy. We talked about Ipswich's housery around not very much, not that, but we're the bad guys. I was just thinking, do you remember Di Canio picking up catching the cross when Paul Gerrard went down injured against Everton? Should he stop there, or is it like Dean Bowditch against Craig Fleming? It's difficult, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I don't know about George Brown. I couldn't tell you how old he is. He might be a youngster about to score his first goal. When you're in the zone and, you know, the match day experience, etc., it's very easy for us to sit here with hindsight and say, oh, no, you should have done the right thing in sporting integrity. But put ourselves in that position and you're about to score what could be, I don't know, maybe his first goal for Sheffield Wednesday. I've got no idea. I think it's very, very different if you're on the pitch. And yeah, it was a gift, but I don't really have any kind of ill will towards George Brown for doing that, to be honest.
No, you Browns look after yourselves, don't you? Keep it. I don't know where I'm going with that. Moving it on. Do you want to talk any more about Mousinho? We've kind of dealt with him. You very much like him, don't you?
I do, but we have both missed out a bit of both, as we always tend to do at the start of these shows. I think it's the third show in a row we've missed out. So let's just do that quickly, and then we'll go back to John Mousinho. So the bit of both feature needs no introduction anymore. I give you 5 clues that get increasingly easier, and you have to guess the player who has represented both Ipswich and Pompey. Do you want to go for your hole-in-one attempt again?
Herman Hreidarsson.
No, wrong. Too obvious. Haha. Right. Clue 1. 14 goals in 61 appearances for Ipswich Town.
Nope. Keep going.
Joined Pompey directly from Town, where he went on to score 37 goals in 81 appearances.
David Norris?
No.
No.
Scored 11 goals in his first season at Town and finished the club's top scorer that season.
Oh, man.
Somebody in the chat has got it already.
Because the trouble is, I'm old. I have a lot of history to go back on. I'm trying to figure out what era this is. I have not a clue. Keep going.
Played for 13 clubs and is still playing at the age of 37 in the Isthmian League South Central Division.
Still not got it.
Really?
Yep.
You'll get it now. Joined Town from Bournemouth as part of 3 player moves between the two clubs in the space of 48 hours in June 2015. The other 2 players involved were Tyrone Mings to Bournemouth and Ryan Fraser from Bournemouth. And the third one was...
Brett the Pitman Hart.
There you go. Well done.
Oh,
I'm surprised you didn't... I thought you would get that on the...
No, I said crap era. I hate that Mick era. Like, that season aside, after that, it was really... well done to who got it first.
Neil got it first. Neil always does. Neil's so good at this.
Fair play, Neil. But shout out to fair play to Trevor mentioning Ray Crawford. Another good link between the two clubs there. And Rob mentioning here, Seb gave an easy one for Ben. Even I got it last week within 1 or 2. Well done to Phil. Well done to Chris. Great, Phil. I'm not that. I'm rubbish. We've accepted it. I'm just not very good. Got to be Pittman, says Colin Marks. Remember the bicycle kick? Which one, Chris? There were a couple, wasn't there? Or was that John
Birmingham? Yeah.
There you go. Well, moving us right along to John Mousinho. I know all about him. He's got a win percentage of, I can't even tell you that. Keep going. 1.6 per game. Keep going.
I really like him. Been in charge since January 2023. Very similar parallels to McKenna. He kind of gets this 6-month head start, taking over a new club, kind of gets across his philosophies and his patterns of play and his style, and then really hits the ground running the next season. He's managed them for 131 games, won 58, drawn 36, lost 37, 1.6 points per game. So he takes over January 23. There's an 11-match unbeaten run at the end of his first season in charge. Then his first full season, second season in charge, he wins League One with 97 points, which is very parallel to what McKenna did with us. Pompey is his first managerial role. He adapted last season. They had that awful start, like I said. They gave him that new contract, that vote of confidence, because they clearly see he's a very, very highly rated young coach. He did make them slightly more pragmatic and moved away from the more expansive football that saw them win League One. So he has shown a bit of adaptability as well. I think he might be on a few data dashboards around the country. And people have been asking in our Telegram group this week, could he be on Ashton's data dashboard? And I think he might well be, because I think he's quite impressive. Playing career as a central midfielder for Brentford, Wickham, Stevenage, Preston, Burton and Oxford. And for his first job in management, 6 months to kind of get his style across, hits the ground running, wins League One, keeps them up his second full season. If he can look to progress them further up the table this season, I got a feeling that they might struggle to keep hold of him if that's the case.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Well, it'll be interesting to see how the season pans out. Head-to-head record, Seb, generally more positive than negative for us.
It's nice this again, isn't it? Last season we sat here and we'd won like 3 games against the opposition each week, but it's flip reversed again now, so we can take some comfort from it. 21 wins for Town, 14 draws between the two, and 17 wins for Pompey. Last time they came to Portsmouth, I think this game gets forgotten a little bit about in the League One promotion season. We always remember Derby, Bolton, Peterborough, all those kind of games towards the end. But in October 2022, a week after we lose our unbeaten record away to Plymouth, Portsmouth come to Town, 3-2 victory for Town. Goals from Marcus Harness, Freddie Ladapo and Wes Burns. 2 penalties from Colby Bishop for them. I think that's a really underrated game, because Pompey were unbeaten at the time of coming to Portman Road. Would the Cowleys still have been there? The Cowleys were there the year before in that god-awful 0-0 draw that they kind of wasted time from the first minute. I remember Dominic Thompson on loan losing his mind and trying to fight kind of one of the Cowley brothers in the touchline when he was taking in a throw-in. So they were probably still in charge. I think that's a really impressive win that maybe we do forget about a little bit, given how impressive the second half of the season was with that run. But that was a really impressive day to beat Pompey, who were unbeaten, to bounce back after losing to Plymouth away the week before was, pretty impressive. And I guess memorable games. Everyone's going to remember Good Friday 2003, the 3-0 victory, top of the league with Harry and Jim. Weren't they chanting that on the roof of the Cobbold stand boxes and stuff? Yeah, I remember the announcement saying to get off.
The guy with the bell. What's his name?
Yeah, John, he's changed his name. John something Portsmouth. He's changed his name legally, hasn't he? Everyone remembers that 3-0 victory. That was the other one that kind of stuck in my head. And so I'm going to give you a really easy tap in for this week's lineup quiz. If you don't get 9 of these 11, I'll be sorely disappointed. So, Good Friday, April 2003, 3-0 victory on Sky. I think it was the 5:30 game. I think it's a 5-3-2 formation. I think there's 2 players in the back line playing out of position. Okay. That's all the clues I'm going to give you. Go for it.
Well, I'll give you the scorers. So Miller, Roycer, and Pablo. Pablo's was lovely, lashed it right into the roof of the net, didn't he? I'm going to go back to Holland and Magilton in midfield, presumably.
Magilton in midfield. Holland looks like he's in the defence.
Oh, okay, fine. Well, it worked, didn't it? Who would have been in goal? No Davis, no Marshall. Then surely, yeah. Well, I always forget Vilnius. So Vilnius,
right wing back.
Naylor.
Nope.
No, I'm trying to think of the back line now. Are we before Westlake and Richards?
Richards was the left wing back.
Okay, cool. Good.
Yep. So you need 2 more of the back 3. One is a player playing out of position.
Running out of names. Is there another striker, by the way? Is there a Bent up front?
Yeah, one of them. Which one? No, the other one.
Oh.
So you've got the 2 strikers, you've got the 3 midfielders, you've got the 2 wing backs and the keeper. You've got Holland as the right-sided centre half. It looks like. So you need the middle of the 3 at the back and the left of the 3 at the back.
There's not a Loney in there, is there? It's not Matt Elliott's season. That's the year after.
That's the season after.
I'm really
so both these players were signed in the Premier League. One from
Macon.
Yes, Macon looks to be the left-sided centre half, which means you need the player in the middle. Classy player, really liked him. We let him go far too cheaply to West Brom the following summer.
Oh, God, so.
Thomas.
Yes, totally agree with you. For footballing reason, he was sold for that, apparently, according to Joe Royal.
Isn't that Joe Royal taking the flak for the directors at the time? I assume it was.
Maybe he's doing a bit of a
500 grand.
Yeah, well done to Neil, always in there, isn't he? He's got Pablo. He said Naylor as well. He's got Richards. Miltsy, no Petter's that's 5 years before, I think. That he's long on DeVos before, too early for that one, too early for Unsworth as well. Yep. So, and Herman's gone at this point. It's not as easy as it looks, folks. Shall I try and turn the tables on you? I've got, we did have one, but the guys on Weekend Preview are going to talk about that. So there's a reason to subscribe to Top Tier and get there. They're going to talk about that 3-0 game in a little bit more detail, but they're going to talk about the game that I wanted, which is the 07-08 season when we lost to Portsmouth on their route to Wembley to win the FA Cup with, the Harry Redknapp, Cranshire, who else? Carnu and all that lot.
Sol Campbell.
Yeah, exactly right.
David James, Ben Johnson.
Liam Trotter harshly sent off. But I'm going to go for an era that we all cherish, the Paul Jewell era. October 2011, we beat them 1-0. Any idea of the score? I've just said it's 1-0. Any idea of the scorer? It's a loney, put it that way.
There were so many at the time, weren't there? Yeah. It's a loney. Daryl Murphy?
No, unfortunately not. So it looks to be...
Keith Andrews, he scored loads the first half.
He scored the goal. He scored the goal,
okay.
didn't he?
Right.
Yeah. So,
so let's have a go. So
I can try and give you the formation, but it looks like a 4-4-2 to me.
So this is Paul Jewell's 1 full season, yeah?
Do you want me to go through? So let me go through. So in goal, Loney. In defence, Loney, Freebie, and then 2 long-standing players. In midfield, Loney, free transfer, Loney, expensive transfer, and then up front 2 kind of tenured players.
Right, so
signed properly.
Bullard and Keith Andrews must be in the midfield.
Yep.
Chopra up front.
Yep.
Jet up front.
Nope. On the bench, came off.
Okay.
Came off.
You say it's a 4-4-2.
Yeah, I think so.
Lee Bowyer is here at this point. Centre half Sonko.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm
Tuffy.
Almost completely out.
I think I'm even struggling to give you a clue for a Welsh centre back / left back that we had on loan. I think from Stoke.
Oh, Collins. Collins.
Yes, Danny Collins. Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Scouser at left back.
Oh, was it the young lad?
No,
Shane. No.
Good money. Great signing when we signed him from Tranmere.
Oh, Aaron Cresswell.
Yeah, he was there. You can still find him. I mean, Joel signed him, didn't he? One of the 2 things.
Him
and Chambo. We always forget.
Yeah.
So the other guy would have been probably right back or right wing in his town career. He kind of fluctuated.
Carlos Edwards.
Yep. And you're missing a central midfielder signed by Roy Keane.
I can picture the keeper.
Oh, we haven't done a keeper yet.
Had him on loan from Fulham, and he went to Wickham and played for years. And go on, who is it?
David Stockdale.
That's it. Yeah. So the other central midfielder, Grant Ledbitter, David Norris.
Yep.
Are they still here?
Ledbitter. Yep.
Okay.
And then the strike partner for.
But it's not Daryl Murphy and it's not Jet.
No.
I've got no
Jet's on the
idea.
bench, along with Nathan Ellington also on the bench. Actually did quite well for us. Had a bit of a Samson moment. Had lovely hair.
DJ Camp? No, not DJ Camp.
And then shave and then cut it right short.
No
bigger,
idea.
probably more famous for playing for Swansea than for us. Jason Scotland.
Oh, Jason Scotland, right.
Well done. Right. So Rob got in there with a clue.
What team.
Yeah, I mean, the bench, Aaron Lee Barrett, Damian Delaney, Reece Wabara, Jet, and Nathan Ellington. Meanwhile, there's 3 ex-ITFC. I can turn the tables a bit of both on you. There are 3 ex-ITFC playing for Portsmouth that night.
Norris?
Norris is one, yep. The other is
Herman still there? Or has he gone at that point?
No, he's gone at that point. A striker from the promotion season that kind of came in and was a bench option. And I'm missing someone else as well.
Promotion
I thought that was
season.
Yeah, sorry, the playoff season.
Stewart. Oh, right.
14-15 playoff season.
Connor Salmon?
No, Luke Varney, and then the goalkeeper was Aloni, came from Charlton.
Oh, saved the penalty at Derby, didn't he?
Stephen Henderson.
There
you go. Boom.
What a feature. What a time to be alive with names like that.
We dragged that out for a bit too much. Apologies. We will try and be a bit more swift about that going forward. We might need to figure out a way to, maybe we don't need to do all of the full 11, or maybe we just do one. But yeah, everyone's loving that feature in the chat. So we'll move on. Talk about transfer, Seb. Should we talk about Connor Chaplin first? We can't. It feels like a good segue in. You've kind of said favourite goal for ITFC for Connor Chaplin. I mean, hopefully it's not the end of his town career. As McKenna was saying in this interview with Ashton, there's a break clause in January. It'd be great to see him back, wouldn't it? But you wouldn't begrudge him if he wanted to continue his career permanently at Pompey. What's your favourite Chaplin goal for Ipswich?
Derby away for me, because it was the move. Remember, it's Walton to Broadhead, who breaks halfway up the pitch, does the little skip before kind of playing that long crossfield to Burns, who knocks it down, and Chaplin is the one to kind of tuck it away underneath the Derby keeper. So yeah, I think that was pretty impressive, because that was one of the first games where I thought, right, we can beat all these sides that are supposed to be top 6 away from home, because we were playing so well. So I will go Derby away.
Yeah, I mean, Paul has mentioned Barnsley or Peterborough away. I think Barnsley, we forget there's a really lovely free kick goal in the home game. And obviously there's the lob at Oakwell that makes it 3. I wanted to chuck in there Sunderland on the telly. We had that really crappy run, hadn't we, over Christmas and New Year, missing a few players, including George Hurst. And then it's kind of Davis to Chaplin, really good header. Just really that good partnership, and always on the end of those kind of cutbacks, as mentioned from our mate Michael down under, kind of talks about any cutback goal. He's just got that real knack, isn't he, of being in the right place at the right time. And Sharon mentions the link with Chappers as well, with Wes Burns too. Any others there? Yeah, Chappers running across the pitch to celebrate the Sarmiento goal. Yeah, good stuff. But hopefully, as we say, not the end of it. But some really key moments. The Exeter game as well. So much in there, isn't there? Talk us about other players that have come in this summer at Pompey, Seb.
Yeah, so 11 arrivals, 9 departures, so a bit of churn. They've basically kind of cleared out the League One squad. Matt Rich is the only name who people probably have heard of. He's gone to Reading. He dropped down there and helped them get promoted. He's moved on to Reading. In terms of the arrivals, John Swift adds experience in central midfield from West Brom. I think he scored against us in that 2-2 game in kind of early February in the Championship promotion year. Mark Kozanovski's coming from 1.1 million from MTK Budapest, central midfielder. Josh Knight, formerly of Peterborough, has come in for £1 million from Hanover. And Adrian Segasic, who started the season really well. He's coming from the Australian A-League, Sydney FC. He's got 2 goals so far this season. We'll mention him in slightly more detail further on. Obviously, Connor Chaplin was signed on loan right on deadline day, but can't feature against us this weekend as he is obviously ineligible. Yeah,
a lot of love for Segasic. Thank you to Lewis. I live in Portsmouth. Segasic, who they've just got from Australia, as a class player. A lot of love for Colby Bishop. We'll be back in a second to talk about how those players feature in Mousinho's lineup.
Blue Monday is brought to you in partnership with Atwell Solicitors, your ideal legal partner for property and business law. Whether you're buying a home, starting a business, or just need legal guidance, our dedicated team has got you covered. Trust our award-winning customer service team to handle your legal matters with care and expertise. Find out more at atwells.com or visit us at our offices in Ipswich, Colchester, London, and our new location in Woodbridge.
Thank you to our friends at Atwells for their support this season. You can also find out more about One Stop Badges too, who are our friends here on the Prematch show exclusively this season. Thank you both for their support. Do you want to go to style of play, Seb? Have I missed anything out?
No, let's do it. So it's if you want to put a tactical pad on the screen, it is a 4-2-3-1 formation that they line up with. If we bring it forward to the usual kind of where they average player positions, you'll see it kind of becomes a 4-3-3. Swift and Dizelle are the two central midfield players. We'll discuss Andre Dizelle in a minute. They're kind of pretty disciplined in patrolling that centre of the park. Regan Poole, the centre half, plays slightly deeper than the left-sided one, Connor Shaughnessy. I assume he's the one to pick the ball up off of the keeper. Connor Chaplin, as you will see, pushes right up alongside Colby Bishop, who again we will discuss in a minute. We've already mentioned Adrian Segasic, who kind of plays in that right-handed role. Josh Murphy is kind of their big star player. Stellar campaign last season with 7 goals and 14 assists. He plays down the left. He was out for the Sheffield Wednesday game. He is rated 50-50 for the game against us. So they've got Florian Biacchini, who's on loan from Swansea, playing in that left-hand channel. If we move it forward to where they touch the ball most, no surprise, look what Connor Chaplin does. He comes out to the right-hand side like we saw him do so many times and look to link up with the right winger. Bishop is kind of the focal point. Swift and Dizelle are pretty close, patrolling that central kind of part of the pitch. I've already mentioned Shaughnessy kind of pushing further up on the left-sided defender role than Regan Poole, and they like to hit teams on the break. 7 fast breaks is the highest in the league so far this season. They're kind of mid-table for pressing, so not massive pressers, but they are not afraid to hit Colby Bishop. I guess when you've got him up front as that focal point, there is a big temptation to do that big switch from the back. 67 long balls per game is the 3rd highest in the league. And again, when you've got Colby Bishop up front, it explains why you want to get balls into the box. 26 crosses per game is the 3rd highest in the league as well. So they will not be afraid to hit teams on the counter, and they will not be afraid to go long from the back to hit Bishop, to have him hold the ball up and bring the runners, i.e. Segasic down the right, whoever plays down the left, be it Josh Murphy or Bianchini, into play. Yeah,
you specifically talked about Chaplin and Shaughnessy. They're both going to be missing, though, aren't they, Seb? Do you want to speculate who might replace them? And we've got and Murphy potentially as well. We've got Bianchini, Lewis are giving us local intel here, which is really helpful. But there are some big absentees, aren't there?
There are, yes. They've got a bit of an injury crisis, I guess you could say. The keeper came off in the Southampton game as well. Nicholas Schmid kind of started the season really well. He was like +3 in the goals prevented stats, 78% shot save ratio. He broke his hand against Southampton, was replaced by his doppelganger, who kind of you couldn't tell a sub had been made because they look so alike. He's out until probably December time with a broken hand. Connor Shaughnessy is a wait and see job, but I can't see any chance of him playing given he pulled up so abruptly against Sheffield Wednesday. Chaplin's ineligible, and they've got Callum Lang, a name people might remember from kind of Wigan, Tom Waddington and Harvey Blair. They're younger strikers. They are likely to be out as well. I could see he could bring on Marlon Pack into the centre of midfield alongside Dizelle, and possibly therefore push John Swift slightly more advanced. That might be the option, given Chaplin obviously is ineligible. But the big news will be down that left-hand flank. If Josh Murphy misses out, that's a big plus for us because he had a stellar season last season, only had 1 assist so far this season, so hadn't started the campaign as strongly. But if he's not on the pitch, it'll be a big boost. Colby Bishop, everyone knows what he can do up front. He's strong, he's physical. A couple of goals here last time he was here, a couple of penalties in that 3-2 game. Only 1 goal so far this season, but leads the line, brings others into play. Missed 5 big chances so far this season, which is the 2nd highest in the league. 11 goals scored last season. It's great to see him kind of finding his groove against his moving to Pompey.
Yeah. Any other key players that we haven't talked about that you want to mention?
Just a mention for Andre Dizelle. I'm happy he's found himself a home. Obviously left us and went to QPR. Didn't get on great. There was that that fan blog, which was, really condescending against him. So really pleased he's gone there, plays that deeper-sided left central role like we all know he will. 46 touches per game, only 1 goal so far this season. Let's hope he hasn't improved the quality of his corners.
A couple of questions kind of a similar vein here. Paul asks, assuming Chappers will be at Portman Road, where does he sit? Interesting one. And Shabby asks, what tip would Chaplin give his Pompey teammates to do versus us? He's going to be in an interesting situation, isn't he, on Saturday?
He won't do us a dirty. He'll remember who butters his bread and pays his wage each month. I'm sure he's given them some tips. No surprise. We can kind of see our weaknesses at this stage when players are still looking to gel. So it won't be too much for him to kind of get in there. It will be, I think, go long for Colby Bishop and get him to hold the ball up and look to bring others into play. But maybe with Kipre coming into the side for Greaves suspension, that might work a little bit in our favour, having a physical monster at the back who can kind of push back against Bishop. I think that might be advantageous to us. Yeah,
good call. We'll talk more about McKenna's selection dilemmas in a second. Firstly, we just need to, there's plenty going on. I mean, we've mentioned it's the start of a 3-game week. There is so much going on. But what I might do to start with, it's a month away, our live event. Bear with me. I've done a video and we'll cut this out for those listening on podcast. But we're going to announce who's going to join us for our live event on the 25th of October in the Subway Robson Suite. And found a little bit of a link, scored an important goal in a playoff campaign to secure our playoff spot at Portsmouth, but couldn't find anything at Portman Road. But yeah, really excited to welcome a Town Hall of Famer on the 25th of October.
Here's Scowcroft. 3-0. Still with David Johnson. Scowcroft! Strike from James Scowcroft. Nico is in support. Scowcroft! Brilliant! Scowcroft getting up, and the header's in! Scowcroft, good turn by Scowcroft, and hits in the shot! Scores the goal from a remarkable angle. And it's paid off. Roycer. Well, no offside here. In towards Johnson. It was a good challenge on him. And Scowcroft has turned it in.
And if you zoned out, that music will have very much woken you up. So really excited to welcome James Scowcroft to our live event on the 25th. You can get your tickets through the link in the description. We've also got a QR code in the top left-hand corner. So please do join us. 50% off the general admission cost for our top tier and Telegram subscribers. So another reason to join that, and will be hopefully a fantastic evening, hopefully off the back of a victory against West Brom 2 on the 25th. So yeah, really excited for that. And yeah, good numbers. Great to see people in real life as well. We always enjoy speaking to you guys in the chat, but even better to see you in person in real life. So come and join us for a little bit of a get together on the 25th. In terms of other bits and pieces, I've talked about top tier. We've got the weekend preview coming out on Friday, which will look in an alternative sense for the Portsmouth game, but plenty also over the weekend. We've got but beyond the scoreline that we'll look back on the kind of tactical and analytical viewpoint. Seb and I will do a mini preview for the Bristol City game on Tuesday night, and then Seb will be back with Mikey for a live reaction, free-to-air access, all that kind of stuff for Tuesday. And then Seb is back with Ben for the big one, the pre-match ahead of the East Anglian derby that all of us are trying to keep partly out of our minds, but are also secretly a little bit excited about. And then the flagship show to cover that one. Obviously, the flagship will be back after Portsmouth too, but yeah, getting really excited about that 3-game week and plenty of content going on here on Blue Monday. Don't forget to support at Wales, a one-stop badges link in the description, as is the link for tickets for the live event. And the Telegram group is available for you 24/7, 365 as well, to continue the discussion going when there isn't a podcast out there or a blog out there. So plenty coming your way. In terms of Kieran McKenna's choices, Seb, 3-game week is a factor. You're going Kipre for Greaves. It's a no-brainer type decision. More complicated choices, though, elsewhere on the field, aren't there?
I think so, yeah. Obviously, it's the first time we've got one of these 3-game weeks. They kind of start to come thick and fast, obviously at home to Pompey on Saturday, away to Bristol City on Tuesday night, and then the big one, Norwich, on the following Sunday. So expect some rotation. Kit praying for Greaves is the obvious no-brainer. I don't think anyone would disagree with that one. But for me, what are you going to do in central midfield? It's going to be obviously 2 out of Matasiwa, Kayust and Nunez. 3 games to come. I guess it depends. If McKenna thinks Nunez starts the derby, then you probably give him Saturday, don't you? And then play Kayust against Bristol City away. You're going to have to get 90 minutes into his legs. Do you want to do it back to back or give him a bit of time off in between the 2 games? Matasiwa, I think, will be the nailed-on starter. It's just who's going to play alongside him. And then a bit of criticism for Akpom last week up at Blackburn. The conditions didn't help, obviously. Again, with it being a 3-game week, do you look maybe to bring Sammy Szmodic in for this one, or do you stick with Akpom and look to rotate more for the Bristol City game before the big one against Norwich? I'm not sure. I think he might go Nunez alongside Matasiwa on Saturday, and therefore look to maybe bring Kayus back in for the Bristol City game. I think Akpom should probably stay in the number 10. I thought Szmodic looked lively when he came on. Really impressive kind of ovation from the Blackburn fans. I know you mentioned it on the flagship show, but a lot of love for Sammy Szmodic in that part of the world, given he did kind of keep them up single-handed. But I think he might have to be patient and possibly wait for Bristol City away. And those away games might suit Szmodic a little bit more, where you need that bit of bite, that bit of know-how, that bit of experience. I just think that might set up nicely for him. So I've gone for Kit praying for Greaves, Furlong, O'Shea and Davis to retain the rest of the back 4. Nunez alongside Matasiwa for his first league start of the season for us. McAteer, Akpom and Philogene, the 3 behind George Hurst. What would you do in the 10 position, and what would you do in the central midfield? I assume you agree with me that Kit Pray is a no-brainer to slot in, yeah?
Yes, Lord, let us know your thoughts in the chat as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it's an unchanged lineup.
Okay.
I'm putting out there because firstly, I think you can bring Nunez off the bench and give him half an hour against Portsmouth, and you could start him away at Bristol City, frankly. Just out of interest, Szmodic played for Bristol City, didn't he? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, did he go there from Cole U?
Yeah, I think so. So I quite fancy
Peterborough.
your suggestion. Yeah, I think it might have been, definitely one of the 2, isn't it? I think maybe Bristol City to Blackburn it would have been, I guess. Anyway, Szmodic trivia, let us know in the chat. I think Szmodic is a great shout for Bristol City away, actually. I think you're right. I think we want shooting around the box, frankly, and Szmodic gives you that bit of difference. I think McKenna will quite likes this 11. I know there's shouts for Ageli. I just don't see that yet. But I also don't see Nunez starting just yet either. So that's a different take. I think unchanged 11 for me, barring any injuries that we don't know about. But Seb suggested Nunez and suggested, you suggested Akpom, didn't you, in the end?
I keep Akpom in the 10. I thought he was good against Sheffield United. I like the fact he has that bit of physicality. So, yeah, I've got no issue with him starting again there. So would you play Nunez? Would you start him against Bristol City?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, for Norwich next weekend. Yeah, would be this time next week? Would you start him against Norwich?
Yeah, 100%. 100% has to start for me. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point in doing all of the, all of
Well, there's something to be said, isn't there, about, if you can get yourself in a strong position and then, bring him on, and that maybe protects him a little bit from being the main kind of narrative on the day. But he'll probably relish that, to be honest, given. Yeah,
I think knowing what we know about him now, he'd be chomping at the bit to play in that one. And I think he'd keep a lid on it. But I don't think Norwich's players would, and I think that might actually help us.
Good call.
So anyway, some thoughts from the chat. Joe wants Ageli in from the start. McAteer not done enough to keep his place in the team. I think it's not an unreasonable perspective on McAteer. It's just whether Ageli is ready to start, but he's had another week of training under his belt, so you never know. If FPL has given us his full lineup, I'm just trying to figure. He's brought Young in for Furlong, Seb.
He also isn't playing a striker from the look of it.
You're also, there you go. Maybe FPL have another go at that.
He's been sporting after the Blackburn debacle. There it is.
He's playing Paul Hurst. There you go. But yeah, you thought Young's not coming for Furlong, is he?
No, I know Furlong gave away the penalty, but I don't really blame him for that.
But...
I don't really blame Furlong for that. I know he was incredibly solid against Sheffield United. The conditions last week played a big part, and he just kind of clips Cantwell as he runs across him, doesn't he? So, yeah, no, I think providing he providing he kind of, can stay fit, I'd imagine he will start the vast majority of games at right back, and Ashley Young will become maybe the relief for him, or the relief for Leif Davis, kind of 70, 80 minutes. A bit like we had, Greg Lee would sub in, wouldn't he, for Leif Davis when the games were kind of taken care of. We can get ourselves back to that kind of position. That's when Ashley Young, I think, in his leadership to get us across the line, if we're defending leads, that kind of thing, that could be absolutely crucial. Do you think any chance Azon starts one of these 3 games?
Well, yeah, sorry, I was just going to put Shenny Harmer's. He says Smollish for Atpom, Nunes for Kiyust can hurt the opposition with a shot, free kick, or killer pass. Doesn't think Kiyust can do any of that. Maybe a Gelly on the right. I think it's a little bit too much change for me, but what do I know? Mabby, though, has asked that question. Give Hurst a rest and see what Azon can do. I have to say, I've not been overly impressed with Hurst since maybe the first day of the season. What's your take?
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad shout at all. He was excellent in pre-season, wasn't he? Kind of signed the new contract, got the number 9 shirt, was in form, got the penalty, scored, did his job. A lot of pressure on that penalty against Birmingham on the opening day. But since then, I wasn't at the Derby game, but struggling to trap the ball and bring others into play, which is such a huge part of his game. We keep saying it. The conditions last week did make it very difficult for him. But yeah, I wouldn't be overly surprised if Azon were to start one of these 3 games. I don't think it'll be the Norwich game. I think you go for Hurst on that, given that he's so kind of linked into the the patterns of play and stuff. But I wouldn't be that surprised if Azon were to get a start either against Pompey or away at Bristol City, given he's been in and around the squad now for basically a month or so. So he should be pretty up to speed with how we're going to play. And yeah, you can then look to bring Hurst on as one of the finishers in one of those, maybe the away game.
Millsy movement, talking about Akpom up front. Trust me, he said.
Yeah, he can do it, can't he? Yeah, obviously he played the deeper role at Middlesbrough that season. He scored so many goals, and Cameron Archer was kind of the most advanced of the two. But he can play up front, and again, he has that physicality, doesn't he? He's a bit of a unit. He can kind of put himself about, hold the ball up, win the ball in the air, and maybe on those tough away games, that's something you need to look at doing. But then if you do that, who plays in the 10, and importantly, who relieves the 10 at kind of 60 minutes? Because the players put so much in. If you start Smodish in the 10, Akpom starts up front, you may be a bit limited to replace the 10 as a finisher at 60, 70 minutes or whatever.
Maybe so. David W knows the score and definitely knows the script for this podcast, 100%. Hurst double in 2-0 win Saturday. This is how it works. We slag someone off and then they do well. So it's George Hurst's turn, and as David says, Hurst double. And Rob also knows the script here as well, knowing that I'm the head of the Jack Clark fan club. He says Jack Clark has scored 2 goals in the last 2 home games. Hopefully that continues on Saturday, but he says off the bench. I assume you concur.
Yeah, and he looked good away at Blackburn as well. It was the comical moment where we kind of realised what a farce he was becoming as he broke up the pitch and the ball kind of just stopped behind, didn't it? But he looked pretty decent. Philogene was quiet against Blackburn. Jack Clark looked really good. So it's great to have 2 such strong players in that position. And Jack Clark coming off the bench must be a nightmare for defenders after Philogene's run them ragged. So hopefully he can continue his decent Portman Road goal scoring run.
And as Lewis mentions here too, 2nd week running, Hurst is against an old club, obviously Portsmouth, didn't he? He had a loan spell before he joined us, didn't he? So
no, that was Blackburn, wasn't it? So I think Pompey was the year when the 0-0 game at Portman Road, when the Cowleys were in charge. I think he was on loan for the second half of that season. Then he goes to Blackburn for the first half of goes to Blackburn for the first half of the promotion season and joins us in the January. I think I don't remember him doing that much for Pompey, to be honest. He might have played the game at Portman Road, that 0-0 draw. I can't remember.
I think he did okay, but yeah, no. Interesting nonetheless. We're doing our bit of both or feature throughout the whole show. We will finish with your predictions, folks. So do get those in now. I always love it when there's some working in there too, and some people have already started doing that. So I'm just going to give you a bit of time to get your thoughts in. I'll come to Seb now to get his take. I'm trying to remember what you predicted with Ben last week. Blackburn,
I predicted
Did you predict the game would be waterlogged and abandoned at 79?
No, I predicted 90 minutes would be played, and I think I predicted we would win 2-1. So I did predict Blackburn will score.
You did actually. We put a thing out, can Ipswich keep a clean sheet, and you were correct in calling that right. Correct.
No, don't be silly. I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet on Saturday either. Spoiler alert. They haven't, as I said, Pompey away from home are unbeaten, 1 win and 2 draws. They don't score many. They don't concede many away from home. That said, I'm going to go for a 3-1 Town victory.
Wow.
I think we'll concede. I just think it's going to be like the last promotion campaign where we have to outscore teams. Kipre coming in might help in that he might not wander up the field like Greaves does on occasion. But yeah, no, I think 3-1 set up the Bristol City game nicely and a lovely kind of warm up for what's to come next weekend. So 3-1 Town, professional job. Sorry, Pompey. Hopefully your unbeaten run away from home is coming to an end.
Wow, there you go. David, good to see you with us. 2-1 to Ipswich. She says goals off the bench, seemingly Smodic and Agelli, at least if Seb or I are to be believed, but we'll see what happens on Saturday. We've got Lewis with the 3-1 as well. There you go, Seb. Andreas is with us. He's gone for a 3-2. I thought 3-2 as well. I quite
just like last time.
Yeah, for Town, obviously. So yeah, and then Millsy's gone for a 4-2 banger of a match. We'll explain why that's more likely to happen in a second too. Kiel's gone for a 3-0. There's a lot of confidence here, Seb, despite last week. 4-0, he says. Harps, early goal will set the tone. Rob's gone for a 3-1. He showed his working. Hurst, Smods and Clark. Love that prediction, Rob. 3-0 for Reading Tractor. 4-1 for Jem. Rob's another Rob Holmes, gone for 2-0. Akpom and Clark. Goodness me, 3-1 says Streaky. I'll be correct one day. Lynn's gone for a 3-0, as says Neil. Jaden, first goal, he says. And David's on a super chat. What a star. Thank you so much, David, for your support. If you want to do likewise, there's a button in YouTube to do that. You can also gift membership for top tier as well. But if you want to support us, then that's great. But support each other. That's what you can do this season. But thank you, David, for your continued support for the podcast. A lot of love for your 3-1. Shane's also concurring with that. Our mate Alex going for a 2-1 with their keeper making a howler. Stranger things have happened, and Rob has realised the error of his ways. I've predicted the same as said no. Shabby's gone for a 1-1. Shenny Harmer's gone for a 2-2. So there's a little bit of balance there, but Kev going for a 2-1 there. So yeah, Michael's showing us it working. Hurst far post header, Clark penalty, Smods off his backside, 3-1 to Town. Lovely stuff. Thank you, everyone, for getting involved tonight. A couple of 3-0s in there as well. Love you, everyone. Thank you very much. Oh, they're all coming in now. Blimey. 2-0, 2-0, 3-1. Lovely stuff. 1-0 for Luke. Good. We will see what happens on Sunday night on the flagship show. Join Ben, Dave, and Joe for that. As we mentioned before, plenty going on top tier. And courtesy of our mate David, been really generous this evening. He has gifted 5 memberships to top tier. So fill your boots, folks, on those. Thank you to David. And there'll be plenty of content coming your way. There's the weekend preview Beyond the Scoreline and our mini preview of Bristol City on Tuesday. And you can take advantage of the discounted entry for our live event as well. Come and hear all of the interesting insight from James Scowcroft and, to a lesser extent, our podcast team. And as always, thank you to Atwells, thank you to One Stop Badges, and thank you to Seb, as always, for your company and your insight and research. Do I need to sign things out or not? What's the take?
Yes, you do, because you did it for Sheffield United and we won 5-1, and we didn't do it last week because it was me and Ben. So we need to keep that run going. So okay. I'll do a quick one. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you to David for his very kind, generous donation and for the gifting the memberships. And yeah, Portman Road, 3:00 on a Saturday. Who'd have thought it? I'm looking forward to this one. Pompey will be loud. They'll bring a lot of fans, and hopefully we can get our second win of the season and set ourselves up nicely for a huge week of a big away game and then an even bigger game on the horizon, which me and Ben will chat about next week. Thank you, everybody. We will see you in a week's time.
We will, yeah. Join us next week. It gets real. It all kicks off. Thank you, everyone, for the lovely words in the chat. Thank you for joining in with the conversation. We appreciate it. Come and see us on the live show. Come and join us on Telegram. But we will be back here free to air pre-match show and the live reaction for Bristol City as well. Don't forget that. We've got some business to take care of before we get to the East Anglian Derby. So don't forget that. The reason, and I'll put this right at the end of the podcast, the reason why Saturday will likely be positive is I'm missing it for a family commitment. So if that happens, then we're probably going to thump them. So there you go. I'm doing my absolute best. I'll just put a few more messages up before we go say goodbye. Thank you, everyone, for getting involved. And because I won't be there on Saturday able to do it myself, I'll give it the beans. Call you Blues!